Could you put yourself back in your teenage Converse for just a minute and imagine wanting to be a rock star? And your lifelong dream is realized. The lives you could touch, right? You have a captive audience. That moment when thousands chant the chorus, backgrounds, political viewpoints forgotten for that moment, and you're singing of an uprising of God's chosen people, and revolution is being birthed in that moment. Woo! This was a For Today show, and God let Mattie Montgomery lead the uprising.
You know, Mattie, he is a friend, and I can tell you that he would much rather be known for a radical, Jesus-believing father than the lead singer of For Today. And as you get into his life and you hear his story, you're definitely going to see why he closed that chapter out and opened this other one. But if you listen closely, you could still hear those crowds belting, "We bear the scars of a holy risen son."
In the fall of 2007, as I was sort of learning, taking baby steps in this pursuit of God, I got a call from a friend and said, "Hey, there's this band called For Today that's looking for a vocalist." And I said, "Well, do they love Jesus?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, then I'm sold." And so I, after praying and talking with the guys, I really felt a great peace about joining this band. Didn't know why they weren't making any money. God knows that. Nobody knew who they were, but it just felt right, you know. And was in a band at the time. It's kind of just a local band. And I was going to play one last concert with that band and then leave to go to Iowa to join For Today. And at this last concert, a girl came up to me and she said, "Hey, I feel like God is telling me to give you this $200. And I said, "You have no idea what this means." And she gave me this $200, and I took the money and bought a one-way bus ticket for the next morning from Lansing, Michigan, where I was playing this concert, out to Sioux City, Iowa, to join the band. And so I bought this ticket, and I showed up, and we had 6 days of practice, and then we left on tour for 10 years. And man, over those 10 years, the guys in this band and I grew as brothers, grew as men of God. We grew in our faith and became leaders of families. And it was tremendous, unbelievable, really incredible. You know, we saw God glorified in some very dark places because of the kind of music that we played. We were invited to go on tour with satanic bands, with openly anti-Christ bands, and we were welcomed because we could do whatever we want during our 30 minutes or 45 minutes. We were welcomed there to share the gospel and to pray for the crowd and to preach the kingdom, and we did that. And so every night we'd walk into bars or nightclubs, places where God is not only not glorified, but God is maybe openly mocked. And every night we would preach the kingdom. And every night we would see hearts changed. We would see people's lives transformed by the power of the gospel. And it was tremendous. It was a really amazing opportunity and an amazing honor to be a part of. And you know, through that band, I met my wife. Wound up moving to Alabama to be a part of our church there. You know, over and over and over again, we saw him do the impossible. And people say to me, "Man, you know, Mattie, I wish that I could do what you do. I wish that I could be as bold with the gospel as you are." And my response is, you know, it's not that I'm very brave. It's that I'm afraid of what might happen if I don't preach the gospel, because I know how desperately the world needs it. Because I believe that the gospel really is important. I believe really that the gospel is the power of God to save anyone who would believe it. And what a great tragedy it would be if I, as someone that has the gospel in me, kept it a secret from the world that needs it so desperately. And so man, I don't have some sort of secret gospel that only I know that leads to people's lives being changed. I've just been brave enough, blessed enough, and graced enough to put the gospel to the test. And every time I put the gospel to the test, we've seen that it is able to withstand every question. It's able to conquer every enemy. It's able to break every chain and swing open every prison door. The gospel is powerful. And for 10 years, in some of the darkest places in our nation, we saw the gospel prevail.